Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to the Sunday services at Center for Spiritual Living, Denver. We are a loving and prospering community in the heart of Denver and online. We now conduct hybrid services at the historic Grant Avenue Community Center and Sacred Place, located at 216 South Grant Street, Denver, Colorado. All are welcomed here. A place, space, and face of love. We are a spiritual community practicing universal principles that enrich our lives. We are grateful that you have blessed us with your presence. While online, we'd love to know you're watching with us. Feel free to leave a comment and let everyone appreciate you. With everything going on, life can feel overwhelming. CSL Denver wants you to know we are here for you. Please know that our practitioners are available for personal prayer work. Our licensed spiritual practitioners' names and phone numbers are available on our website at csldenver.org. Or if you have a prayer request, feel free to email it to info@csldenver.org. For your convenience, you'll find clickable links in the description of this broadcast. Rev. Elzia, along with all our guest speakers, practitioners, service coordinators, and musical inspirations, want you to know how truly grateful we are that you are with us today. Thank you for your continued support and participation in our services, workshops, and events, as well as providing financial contributions to our center. If you're interested in upcoming events and information, we send out weekly newsletters. Sign up by visiting www.csldenver.org. We deliver services in a hybrid format where we meet in person at 216 South Grant Street. We will also continue to live stream all services on Facebook and YouTube every Sunday. Find us on our respective channels as well as on New Thought Media Network. Again, thank you for your precious attention. Now prepare for engaging enlightenment.
There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden where God's grace blooms. There is a garden where everything grows, a beautiful garden where love is sown. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true, a beautiful garden. That garden is you. And in this place of light and love, you can have anything that you're dreaming of. There is a garden where dreams come true. A beautiful garden, that garden is you. Such a beautiful garden, that garden is you.
I'm Tim Hancock, practitioner here at Center for Spiritual Living, Denver. And I invite you to close your eyes for the invocation and join us in that garden that is in each and every one of us, that powerful, powerful divine spirit. And we know that divine spirit is all good, is all love, is all compassion, is all joy. And we know that divine spirit is also all caring as we go through life with all of its bumps and warts and love and joy. For it is all God. And as we move into this service today, I am absolutely grateful for the blessings that we have been bestowed upon. Blessings of Reverend Elzia and his message, the blessings of my word, the blessings of all of the technology that has gotten us here, both remote and in person. And absolute blessings of every beautiful face that is in this room or watching us on whatever device you're watching. And we also bless all of those who are moving into the spiritual realm in however means they do, whether it's in a mosque, a synagogue, a temple, out in nature, at their favorite fishing hole, wherever it is. For it is all God. I am absolutely grateful for the love that I feel today for each and every person that I come in contact with. And so it is. And this month's theme is on vulnerability, and I'm certainly one that could use a lot of education in this, so I'm glad that we're having it. And the reading today is vulnerability is uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. It's when you try something new, leave your comfort zone, or put yourself in a situation where you may lose control. It's like that crazy rush of emotions you get when you first try something new and you don't know what you're doing, but you do it anyway. Classically, our culture has labeled vulnerability as a weakness. So when you think back to when you felt vulnerable or exposed, maybe you shudder and feel embarrassed. However, when you think more about it, these are the times when you dared to put yourself out there emotionally. Perhaps the idea of putting yourself out there emotionally does not carry much appeal for you. However, it would be negligent to avoid the truth that vulnerability is also at the root of everything you crave. It is where love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity all happens. So whenever you feel vulnerable, Remember that this is a natural part of growing and expanding. Once you become more aware of this information, try to actively resist the urge to cover up your vulnerability. Some of the tips for doing this might include giving yourself compassion. Remind yourself of how brave you are to be vulnerable, no matter how small it seems at the moment. Avoid focusing on other people's opinion of you. A good affirmation to use when you hear criticism of yourself is, "What you think of me is none of my business." Slow down. You like that? What you think of me is none of my business. Slow down. Take a breath and return to your body if you need a moment. Give up perfection. The more you abandon ideas of perfection, the more you leave yourself room to be yourself. Be forthcoming with your needs. Tell loved ones that you need them. Telling loved ones that you need them is an essential part of being vulnerable. It opens you up to them in a way that will bring you closer together. Vocalize your feelings. It can help you deepen the relationship you have with yourself, as it requires a certain level of self-knowledge. Be in the moment, slowing down the thoughts in your head and living in the present moment is ideal for true vulnerability. And from the words of our founder, Ernest Holmes, in a book, This Thing Called You, which is a small little book, but it has so much dynamic information in it, you'd think it was as big as Webster's Unabridged Dictionary. It's this part that I found is, since no two persons are alike, there must be a unique place for you in the scheme of things. The divine pattern would be in
creatures of the earth, big and small, and every hair on my head, you've counted them all. The secret of the stars and the mysteries of Mars are nothing for you to solve. You are God of everything. You spoke your name and it all came into being. You are God of everything. You've made your home inside of me. There is nothing else I need. You are God of everything. The path of time moves like shifting sand, but I am steady by perfect hand. Vast deserts of fear and deep oceans of tears all disappear at your command. You are God of everything. You spoke your name and it all came into being. You are God of everything. You've made your home inside of me. There is nothing else I need. You are God of everything. Oh, the wonder of wonders. You are. Spoke your name and it all came into being. You are God of everything. You made your home inside of me. There is nothing else I need. You are God of everything. God of everything.
Good morning, and welcome to CSL Denver, a place, a face, and a space of love. A spiritual community teaching universal principles and applying ancient wisdom to improve our lives and the lives of others. I'm so happy that you're here today as we begin the Holy Week. Palm Sunday is today, and we step into this topic for the month of vulnerability. When we think about that story, we know that vulnerability is front and center. And we also know that during this time right now, there's the month of Ramadan and that vulnerability of fasting every day and opening yourself up to a higher relationship with God, with Spirit is key to us living a life that is full, living a life that is worth living. And so you think about life and Lent is coming up, right? Lent, and we're going to fast for Lent, and we're preparing ourselves. We're making ourselves a vessel of the Spirit, a vessel of the divine, so that we are here on divine mission with the divine purpose. And if we don't open ourselves up to that, i.e. be vulnerable, you are going to miss some joy. You're going to miss some thrills. You're going to miss some moments in life that God has prepared especially for you. I can't get yours. You can't get mine. You got to be ready to get your own. And so to do that, we have to open up with vulnerability. You have to open up. Now, if you remember, just to set the stage, when Jesus entered Jerusalem on the donkey, that started the whole thing. How vulnerable can you be when you ride a donkey? You can't. I can outrun a donkey, I think. I believe if I take a deep breath, I believe I can beat the donkey running. So if I'm riding on the donkey, I'm very, very vulnerable. So that's an image. I mean, in this teaching, we look at these things metaphysical. We look at them beyond the surface. We go deeper than just the literal of things, because we know life, as the song said, is a many splendored things, meaning that there are many different levels and aspirations and all of these things that allow us to become full human beings. And so when we look at this thing called vulnerability, the first thing we need to really find out is, what is vulnerability? What is vulnerability? Now, if you look it up in the dictionary, it's about being susceptible or scared or something of that sort. But we know there's always two sides of a coin. There's never, ever been a one-sided coin. Now, if anybody in here got a one-sided coin, I really want to see it, because I don't think there's ever been one. Nor will there ever be one. So when we look at the flip side of what vulnerability is, which I think is the true meaning, we'll bring up this first slide here that'll really make it real clear about what that is. And I'm going to bring that slide up here so that we can see it here. It says vulnerability is a state of emotional exposure that comes with a certain degree of uncertainty. It involves a person's willingness. Ooh, that went smaller, man. I want that. A willingness. I'm going to get this right. Y'all just wait a minute. Okay, to accept the emotional bounds, being open and willing to be loved. And I didn't read that right, I know, because my screen ain't like y'all's screen. See, that's being vulnerable right there. See, y'all got a better look at this than I do. But that's okay, because that's what this is about. It's about being able to allow yourself to be whole, to be free, to not be afraid to make mistakes, or being afraid that someone's going to laugh at you or make fun of you. So what? As Tim said, that's none of my business what they're thinking. I'm on my own journey. Our journeys converge, but I still got to do my part. I still have to do my part. So vulnerability involves healing the fractured parts of ourselves. It's like I'm sure most of us, if not all of us in here, have put together jigsaw puzzles. And that jigsaw puzzle, when you get it and dump it out the box, especially if you get one of them 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzles, you look at that thing and you say, ooh, I should have got a 500-piece puzzle. Because I think I got too much here. And you are very vulnerable, right? But when you start putting the pieces together, you get a little more confidence. The picture becomes a little more clearer. And so when we pick up the piece, we turn it this way and we turn it that way, and we begin to try different things with it until we find the right place. That's what dealing with these vulnerabilities in life are. They're not there to make you weak or to make you susceptible to someone else's jokes. It's there for you to figure it out. The picture is there, but we have to put it together, which means we have to embrace these vulnerabilities. We have to consider what happens when we try the different pieces and when we don't. And now if you were a real serious puzzle person, everybody got their own. Some people say, I got to get the edges first. Some people know I got to find one image first, and I'm going to get that image, and then I'm going to go around that image. But no matter where you start on putting that puzzle together, if you're diligent about it, if you are willing to be made a fool of, you'll get it together. You'll put the puzzle together. Takes time, takes patience, takes a little bit of exploration, but you can do it. And that's what we're looking at this month when we step into this whole thing about the power of vulnerability. The power of vulnerability. Because it's this ability, it's this time when we allow our emotions to deepen, when we're vulnerable. Now, I know myself, when I think about being vulnerable, it's a male thing, some of it, but not all of it. But, I don't want to cry, right? That's being vulnerable. But sometimes that's the best thing we can do. Think about when you cry. Your sinuses open up. Your tear ducts open up. You breathe a little deeper. There's something about being vulnerable that opens you up, which means you have a bigger container for God to pour spirit in. That's what this is about. That's what we look at when we deal with vulnerability. We have to be willing sometimes to be made a fool of. How many times have you made a mistake? How many times have you did something that was out of character, and after you sat with it for a minute, you grew tremendously? You grew tremendously because this vulnerability key, I'm going to call it for this moment, is a tool for transformation. It's a key tool for transformation. If we're looking to grow, if we're looking to be bigger and better than we were yesterday, we have to step into it. This is the key. And it creates this expanded awareness so that we begin to look at life totally different. Things we used to avoid, we don't avoid them no more. People we used to not pick up the phone, we pick up the phone with a smile now. Because we have been doing this internal work. We've been looking at our own vulnerabilities. What happened when I was a child? What happened at my first girlfriend, my first boyfriend? All these things that have caused the lenses of the world to be skewed a little bit. But when we can clear them glasses off, I got these glasses, they work when I clear them off. When I don't, it's bad news. But when I clear them off, I can see pretty good. I can find my way down the hall in the dark. Most of the time, if I'm walking in, if I don't have these glasses, I am vulnerable to stomping my toe, to falling down the stairs. All kinds of problems happen. But when we can open ourselves up and look at these different fractions of ourselves, we open up. And so when I look at this next slide here, it really speaks to this moment. It says this. I can get it to where I want it to be. There it is. There is an irresistible potential pressing against everyone for self-expression. If we listen, we shall hear it, not as a voice, but as a feeling, as a divine urge to express. That's what we're talking about. I could talk all day, but if I don't make you feel something, I haven't done much except talk. And we're here to embrace the spirit. We're here to be better today than we were yesterday. We're here to create an envelope of love so that others can have that same permission to be vulnerable. They know I'm not going to judge them. They know I'm not going to pick on them, make fun of them. That's what Jesus did. When we look at the spiritual leader, we look at either Buddha or Muhammad or Jesus, they made themselves vulnerable to teach a message, to live an example of what it means to be in close connection with the Most High God. It wasn't a fly-by-night kind of thing. They were all in. They pushed all the chips in and said, I'm going with this one. And I'm going to be vulnerable, and I'm going to take all the lumps that I'll take. When we can do that, we step into what we talked about last month. Last month's theme was authenticity as a superpower. Now, if you really want to step into your superpower, here's the key. You got to be a little bit vulnerable because it opens up. And now you're strong when you can step into scary situations. You can step into situations where life may not be as pristine as they say. But that's okay. That's okay. You're willing to take risks. How many risk-averse people do we have in here? I'm going to raise my hand first. Don't tell the truth, as they say, and shame the devil. We all at some point are afraid of risk. Getting another job, starting a new relationship, breaking up a relationship. I mean, it's fearful. But we begin to learn that life is for us, not against us. It's a matter of perspective. It's a matter of how you look at the world. And when you can put the glasses off, them vulnerabilities don't seem too bad. They don't seem too bad. And so there's a verse in 2 Corinthians. In 2 Corinthians that I want to read it here because I think it sheds some light. It's chapter 12, and I'm going to summarize a little bit, the 9th through the 11th verse, or the 9th and 10th verse, rather. But on the 9th verse, it says this, but he said to me, and Corinthians, you know, was written by Paul, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest in me. I will make myself vulnerable so that Christ's power, the Spirit of God, rest in me. That's how we open up to the divine. And it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. Because I know where my power comes from. It's not from me. It's not from my job. It's not from my assets in the bank. My power comes from God, the living Spirit. And when that happens, we're moving in a different way. There's a song by a young lady named Erica Campbell. It's called All I Need. And this is what happens, I found for myself, and it may be true for you, when I step into these vulnerable places. It says, I was looking for mercy and I found grace. I was looking for trust and I found that all I needed was faith. I was looking for peace and found all I needed was love. And looking for strength, I found that joy. When we can do that, when we can move in those kind of circles, with those kind of ideas, everything becomes brand new. Everything becomes new. And vulnerabilities don't seem that bad. They don't seem that bad. And so when we're able to do that, we're able to move to this next idea. There, let me go to the next slide there. It says, we resist being what we really are. We need to accept the fuller expression of the mind that is within us. For in its creative flow, through us rests our entire future. The greater person that we are and the richer life that we are. Now, in synopsis, what that's saying is you have to embrace life. You have to take the chances. You have to do these things to be richer in life. When you plant a garden, for that garden to grow, as our opening song talks about the garden, you have to till the, if any, and I know a lot of gardeners in Colorado, probably all over, but I know in Colorado, you got to till the soil. You got to weed it. Those are vulnerable. That makes your plants vulnerable. And so when we step into that kind of idea, that kind of joy, that kind of trust and faith and love, then we open up to vulnerability. And so I want to leave you 3 things as we embark on this journey of vulnerability to really make it real simple. And the first thing is this: vision is key. If I'm embarking on any kind of journey, I have to have a vision of where I'm going. If you don't have a vision of where you're going, they call that wandering. You just meandering around. No specific place, no destination, and that's not what this is about. This is about a destination, a vision of being the true you. So when we can step into vision, both inner and outer, right? Not just my glasses now. I got to go inside my heart to get the real vision. When we can do that, that means I got to open up to all the stuff that I hide in my heart, all the lies I told, all the people I wasn't always truthful to. I mean, let's be real about it. If you're trying to step into your power, there's no shortcuts here. There's some things that may get you there a little quicker, but it ain't a shortcut. That's like going 80 miles and 100 miles. That's all. You still got to travel the miles. So when we open up with the vision, when we have a clear understanding of where we're going and who we are and why we're here, everything else opens. Everything else opens. The second thing, after you've established this vision, here comes my hard part. You got to be committed. You have to be committed. Now, there's a story that says if you want to understand the difference between being committed and being involved, the next time you sit down to bacon and eggs, you'll understand. The chicken was involved, but the pig was committed. The pig had to give everything up. The chicken just laid the egg and kept moving. You got to be committed if you want to, the whole thing about you have to, as they say in the Buddhist tradition, you have to die to the self to be reborn again. That's being vulnerable. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that? And the next thing in this is we have to be open and strong all at the same time. Now, that may seem like a little oxymoron, but I want to give you this image. If you've ever seen a spider web, and especially on a day like today, if it was dew out and the water drops would be on there, it would look like a kaleidoscope, and it would just be so beautiful. But it's open. It is vulnerable, but it is open. It is standing strong. And just to let you get a real understanding, now this may surprise you because it surprised me. The silk of a spider. Now, they can produce different kinds of silk. But this one type of silk that they use to anchor their spider webs can withstand 620 pounds. That little flimsy thing in the water and the light is strong. It's open and strong at the same time. It can withstand. And if you don't believe it, the Google's got everything. So you can just go to the Googles when you get home, and the Googles will tell you 620 pounds of power, of strength that spider can spin in that web. But when you look at it, you see all these holes in it and everything. You say that's not strong enough to hold anything. But it allows itself to be vulnerable. It's standing in strength and being open at the same time. And when we can do that, we can embark on this journey called vulnerability, this journey called life. We can step into a place where we are empowered to be more than we ever thought we could be. To be more than we ever thought we could be. And so that's my charge today. That's what I charge everybody, myself included, is can we come up with the vision to be all that we can be? Can we be committed regardless of the path? And can we be open and strong all at the same time? That's kind of like, the yin and yang. If anyone in here has ever done Tai Chi or seen anybody doing Tai Chi, not just practicing in the park, but I mean a real Tai Chi match. It's a dance of give and take. They're strong and open all at the same time. A push something that looks like a push is actually a punch. Something that looks like a pull is actually an elbow to the head. That's what we're trying to live a Tai Chi life. We're trying to live this life of flow, not hustle. We're in an environment now where we think or we value hustle more than we do flow. I'm doing the gig thing. I got many jobs and I'm hustling, but this slow, that makes you vulnerable. If you're flowing, it's easy. And that's what we want to do. That's what we want to do. We want to flow with life. I have an aunt and some cousins in Florida. Hopefully they listen today. They told me they would. And Miss Wilson, my aunt, and my cousin Carol and Marsha, they called me last night. They wanted me to flow some money to a worthy cause. My cousin is a my cousin is a nurse, and they're raising money for nurses. to help students who want to be nurses. Do you know how vulnerable or how much vulnerability it takes to be a nurse now? To go with all the stuff going, you have to be strong and open at the same time if you're going to be a nurse, because it is what it is, right? So let's begin now to step into this place of vulnerability so that it can allow us to build trust and intimacy. So that it can increase our sense of self-worth. That it allows us to build relationships that are strong like that spider's web. And allow us to walk through and process emotions, because we know that is the song of life. Emotions are the song of life, and most emotions are tied to vulnerabilities. So let's do that. Let's do that today, not tomorrow, not next week. And then when we look at this last slide, this next slide here, and if you bring that up, it says vulnerability is the only authentic state. Being vulnerable means being open for wounding, but also for pleasure. Being open to the wounds of life means also being open to the bounty and beauty. That's what we have to do. And when we can do that, we can move mountains. We can move mountains. And so, as always, we have a call to action. You know, every Sunday we have these lessons and we talk and inspire ourselves. But the ultimate key is to what am I taking home to work with during the week? What am I going to do to put this stuff in action? Our founder says you need to treat and move your feet. In the Bible, it says prayers without work are nothing. So we have to do a little work. And so when we bring up these call to actions right now, we see there are three things I have here. And the first one is, what areas of your life are the most challenging to exercise vulnerability? You don't have to tell me. I ain't gonna tell you mine. I may tell you tomorrow, but I won't tell you today. But you got to ask yourself, what areas are you not comfortable with when you start talking about vulnerabilities? That's probably a place that you can get a great big opening in your life. The second thing is, when was the last time you had the courage to be vulnerable? See, after you work through what it is, then you find somebody close to you that you can tell them. You know, you don't want to tell your worst enemy, because they're going to use it against you. You got to build a little strength for that. But you do want to tell somebody. You want to tell somebody, because now that means you got to open up and be strong to stand in it, whatever it is. And then last but not least, where in your life are you not open to the grace and blessings of God? Where are you trying to do it alone? Where are you trying to hide? Where are you trying to blame somebody else? Figure that out, and we're now moving in another direction. So as we anchor this in, and we look at the affirmation for this week to kind of anchor this into our lives, so that we begin to move in the direction of our dreams, is this: I bring my own unique expression to life and create a safe space for others to do the same. That's what we do when we. So with that, let's go into prayer. Heavenly Father, the creative source, the divine mind, the energy behind all things, that intelligence that allows each and every one of us to expand and to grow and to be open to the Spirit. I know that each and every one of us in here are emanations of the Most High God. We all have that spark of the Spirit with us that's waiting to explode, that's waiting to be revealed, that's waiting to be seen on all fronts. And so as we begin to cultivate that idea, we step into this vulnerable place of where our heart is open and our mind is clear, and the vision of becoming all that we can be is all that we see. And we step into a flow of the divine where God leads us and speaks to us and guides our hands and puts people in our lives so that we can become godlings, if you will. Because we are here on divine purpose. And the only way to grow is to be vulnerable. And as we grow into our true selves, into the person that the divine has created us to be, we allow it to be so. And so we step into our magnificence. We step into our grace. We step into our blessings, knowing that all is well. And so we give thanks for that. We give thanks for that idea, that motion of love, that idea of strength. Because it is in that we live again. And so it is in this moment now that I release this prayer into a law, into a heart of love that hears all things, knows all things, that will take this prayer for each and every one of us here and online and move us to a greater sphere of understanding. And so I just release it. I let it go. I know that it is absolutely so, because there's no place where God is not, and that includes right here, right now. And so it is. Amen. And so it is. Amen. And so I hope everybody go home and be vulnerable. Even if you have to be vulnerable with yourself in the mirror. You know, if you ain't got the courage, just go in the mirror and tell yourself something that makes yourself open up a little bit. Because that's the way we grow, that's the way we move, and that's the way we build relationships. And that's what we're about here at CSL Denver, is building community and relationships that work, that allow others to be who they are. And so now it's that time of offering, and so we are so glad that you're here. Whether this is your first time or you're a returning member, we love you for your time, treasure, and talents, because we are here to do a mighty work. And so if you look across the bottom of the screen, you'll see the many different ways that you can give, whether it's going to the website and clicking the donate button, or text to give. And the number, we have a new number. That number is 616-441-0689, and type give and what you want to give, and it'll guide you through the process. But however you give, whatever you give, we appreciate it. And so as we do customary here, when we give, if you just give it from your heart, we place our hand on our heart if that feels comfortable, and we repeat our affirmation. This perfect gift is spirit informed, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive, and so it is. Amen. So it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Elzia. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, as we usually mention, if you'd like to hear some good news of the world to affirm the good in the world, we have our link on the Facebook page, and it's called Now the Good News. The program is put together by New Thought Media and airs on Friday at 5 p.m. Mountain Time, or you can watch it any time during the week. Just go to the Center for Spiritual Living Denver Facebook page and click on any post that says, and now the good news. And New Thought Media Network also has over 40 hours of weekly broadcast programs, including prayer time at 8:15 a.m. and p.m. every day, Wisdom of the Mist, and Finding Joy in the Journey, along with New Thought Radio, only to name a few. They also have recently added prayer time in Spanish, as well as 40 Days to Love, both in Spanish and English. We invite you to go to www.ntmedium.org and check out what they have. There's something for everyone. We know that as we move through this year and all of our experiences that it's hold, that the divine beloved is guiding and loving each one of us and every one of us. So we look forward to meeting every person every Sunday as well online. Now let us close out with Chris Chickering singing A Prayer for Who We Really Are. And then you can all please join us for fellowship afterwards. We have coffee, tea, and some sort of chocolate cookies over there. And best of all, love and conversation with each other. Thank you very much.
This is a prayer for the love within us. This is a prayer to release our hearts. This is a prayer that we carry with us. This is a prayer for who we really are. We are light, we are sunshine, we are what we believe. We are hope, we are promise of everything that's yet to be. We are bliss, we are laughter, we are flowers in the spring. We are life, ever flowing, and these are the words that we will sing. This is a prayer for the love within us. This is a prayer to release our hearts. This is a prayer that we carry with us. This is a prayer for who we really are. We are strong, we are fearless, we find the comfort in our souls. We are real, we are open to the destiny that's ours to hold. This is a prayer for the love within us. This is a prayer to release our hearts. This is a prayer that we carry with us. This is a prayer for who we really are. We are here, we are present in every moment that we breathe. We are peace, we are freedom, and this is a song for you and me. Yeah, this is a prayer for the love within us. This is a prayer to release our hearts. This is a prayer that we carry with us. This is a prayer for who we really. This is a prayer for the love within us. This is a prayer to release our hearts. This is a prayer that we carry with us. This is a prayer for who we really are. Who we really are. Who we really are.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.